People of Reddit, what was the scariest paranormal experience you have ever had in your life? In my hometown, there's this old railroad track that got mostly reclaimed by tree-lined marshland. The track was still above water unless we had flood, and it had a graveyard near an industrial estate and cut maybe 20 minutes off our walk back from town. Midway, there's a bridge and the trees cut out for the river to go through, letting the lights of the city shine through. You on that bridge, you've got basically a weird yellow, almost spotlight piercing the dark. You can see it shining a good 10 minutes walk away due to how straight that bit of path is. Okay, setup complete. A load of us are all walking home after a movie, and we're taking this path because it saves time, and honestly because we're probably hoping to get a bit frisky with the girls in the bird-watching huts. We're laughing and joking, and the group is kind of spread out with everyone moving up and down between mini groups. We pass over this bridge with no issues except my mate's shoelace has come undone and he wants to get it sorted. He's had a bad time recently with a breakup and a job falling through at the last minute and a load of other stuff. And he's kind of on that one more thing that's going to break me edge, so I'm not leaving him alone. I hang back with him and we're chatting away maybe 20 steps from the bridge with the light behind us. And when he's done, we start to walk back. We've gone maybe 10 steps, then there's a yell from the group and it's not a good one. There are silhouettes in front of us at the moment, barely recognizable as shapes against the darkness, but you can just about see one of them, later revealed to be 3 of them, pointing at us when the yell hit us. Run! There's a time in horror movies when you hear that and they just leg it. To me, it wasn't a command to follow through. It was a source of confusion. Why run? We weren't that far behind, unless we had to run from something, and what could there be to... The sound that came from behind me cut off all thought. You ever seen a dog that's angry and growling but trying to pull that back? They do that sort of burbling growl. It was that, from a much larger throat. We turned as one, saw it then, black with the light of the yellow urban moon framing it. It was a dog whose head came up to my chest. I'm 6 foot, so maybe 5 feet from toes to snout. Seeming to be shaped like a German shepherd, but pure black with no defining features that could be seen. It was climbing up the bank from the river underneath the bridge. Most terrifyingly of all, even more so than the horrible noise coming from its mouth, were the eyes shining red through the darkness. I've seen that effect used in video games in the quarter century since this, and that's not what's happening here. Thing burning or reflected, hell, the lights were behind it. Just the eyes themselves that seemed to be red and drawing attention as the only color visible. We ran then. How could you not? We caught up with our now screaming friends, and we all ran from the gigantic thing from the depths of a hell none of us believed in. And then we looked back and saw this creature wasn't following us. It still stood in front of the bridge, seeming like it was convulsing. Its head turned away from us, and then back, and the eyes still shone even at the distance where we felt somewhat safe. It stood then, rising onto its hind legs and standing like a man, and finally letting out the thing it had been holding in. A deep and guttural roar that felt like it physically gripped my spine. And it just stood there on its hind legs, seemingly not struggling at all like dogs do, just comfortably standing like a man and letting us know we were lucky this time. We got out through the graveyard almost like a military operation, keeping an eye on all the directions we might be attacked. And then we headed back to town the long way and the police station, telling them what we'd seen. We got a lecture on drugs and told to F off before they arrested us for wasting their time. Nobody we spoke to believed it, and so we stopped telling the tale because it just hurt our credibility. I don't know what I saw that night. I know what it looked like and have described it as best I can here, but what it was? Maybe a dog and its owner up for a walk and we saw them at different times? Maybe the owner wore contacts and caught an odd reflection in the same way the eyes of the pet must have. Maybe a train went along the other lines half a mile away in the quiet of the night as that dog barked and it picked up as one noise to us all. We've gone over it so many times, come up with so many explanations for everything that make perfect sense if you think about them. But the amount of things that have to line up perfectly for all that to be true? I don't know what I saw, and I want to believe it was something normal our excited minds blew up. But it niggles at me to this day, and I never again walked the tracks.